Hey, what's up? Sean here with Think International, training the next generation of leaders and creatives. And today we're having a social media for churches conversation with Jason Caston, the digital platform innovation specialist with TD Jakes Ministries and the Potter's House Church. How's it going, Jason?
Oh man, it's going great. Glad you took some time to come hang out with me.
Absolutely, and excited about what you're doing. And first of all, we want to talk about three topics today, and I wanted to start off specifically with Facebook. You know, you're a Facebook specialist, especially in the ministry nonprofit church arena, and we know now well over 1 billion users, and such a great tool and opportunity to reach people, to get the word out about your ministry, church, conferences, and reach people in a local church context. But it's also getting noisy, it's getting crowded, and so you can't just kind of, I think, dabble there and necessarily get results. And you guys, you have a book out called How to Get 100 or How to Get 1 million Social Media Fans, and you got some tips with Facebook. So what do you think it takes to actually get results in a local church context with Facebook?
Well, initially, I think that one, you're absolutely correct. You can't just throw stuff at the wall and hope it sticks. Facebook is from the beginning when it started. I don't know, '07 or whenever it was, some odd years ago, '04. It's continually evolving, and just social media as an industry is continually evolving. So now we're at the point where you actually have to have a strategy when you're putting your social media or any of your digital strategies together. You have to have a plan in place. So let's get right to it. With Facebook or just our social media in general, we have a 5-part strategy, and I'll lay that out for you right now. The
Yeah.
5 parts we use are inspiration. We make sure that the main focus of our social media strategy is inspirational content. That's what people seem to be drawn towards. We make sure we have information. So whatever we would put out in the church, bulletins and stuff like that, we make sure that the information is available on the network, on our Facebook network, or whatever network people want to connect with us on. Just continuous flow of information. Next thing we have is consistency. We make sure we're consistently putting out content on the networks that we're using. So we don't start a Facebook page up and then it just goes dark. We're consistently posting to that page because we know people want to connect with us. Communication is the 4th part. We make sure that people who want to connect with us and talk to us, we talk back to them. We keep the social and social network, and they're not just use it as a marketing tool where we're just talking at them. And then the last thing we use is diversification. And so today we're going to focus on Facebook, but we don't put all our eggs in Facebook's basket. We use a variety of networks: Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, Vine, YouTube, specifically. Just all those networks make up our entire strategy. So that's how we get results on all the different networks.
That's awesome. And one of the things that a lot of church leaders struggle with is the demand for content when it comes to doing that. So you've got this 5-part strategy, and you're strategically releasing content, probably in a variety of whether text, images, videos, or links to other content, blog content, and all kinds of different things. What are some tips for content creation? Because I know people can get into overwhelm, they can get into maybe scatterbrained, and you're trying to keep so many, you're juggling trying to get the content created. What do you guys do to keep that streamlined, to keep it impactful, to keep it efficient, and to get content created?
Well, initially we started off with the whole motto is work smarter, not harder. So you're looking at our platforms total about, I don't know, 6-7 million. So there is no way with the team we have, which is about 4 people, to just be scatterbrained about that. We very focused on how we get stuff out. So we look at the content that the church generates every week. We come up with certain people, and any ministry, any size can do this. You have to have first a person that's going to champion the content. Who's the person that's going to be the one that goes and gets all the content that the church generates week in and week out? And that's one of the things that a lot of churches don't understand is the church generates a lot of content every week, from the pastor's weekly message to the different events going on with the church, midweek messages. It's just a lot of different content. And even the stuff you don't think is content, like pictures of ministry being done, that's great content that resonates. And then, of course, daily devotional scriptures, etc. So once we got the people that gather that content, we plug it into a system. We use Hootsuite, and you can use Buffer as well. But we use that software to push out all the content that we set at a scheduled preset time and all that good stuff that I'm sure you're familiar with. But the main thing that made it the best part about it that we got together was once we identified what all the content we saw coming through the ministry every week, and it's a tad bit easier because we're a larger ministry, but with smaller ministries, we just looked at the things that they had coming out every week, and we figured out how much can we push out a day. And then for Facebook, we said, let's try and come up with 2 to 3 posts a day to start off. And first one being daily devotional, the next one being some type of multimedia post, picture or video, and then the third one being a link to some type of event going on with the church. If we just start off with those 3 as a basic starting point, then how do we work up from there to start creating each a much larger monthly, annual strategy?
Awesome, awesome. Now, Facebook recently released information, and it kind of spread around that at any given time, I believe that your fans are only seeing, or you're only reaching about 16% of your fans with your content. And then if you increase engagement a little bit, like shares, comments, they might throttle a little bit more engagement there. But of course, that sort of shifts it to the idea of sponsoring posts or promoting posts, moving into paid ads for Facebook. Do you think that's a relevant, an important decision for churches to start utilizing, to allocate maybe a little bit of budget or resources to? And then how do you not lose when you do that? Meaning, I know it can be kind of overwhelming about how you're going to promote the posts and kind of learning the back end of Facebook ads. What would you suggest for church leaders that are just kind of delving into paid ads and promoted posts, maybe for the first time?
Well, first, let's look at initially, I would say like last year up until earlier this year, it was about 14 to 16%. And now I'm hearing from some of my churches I've worked with, that and church friends, that it's even gotten as low as 1 to 2%. So wow. It's getting steadily worse. But from a consumer perspective, or us using Facebook as a product, that's worse for us. From Facebook as a business, that's better for them, because now, to answer your second question as far as how to utilize the paid ad options, social media as a general, as an industry, is going pay to play. Okay, well, initially we started off, everything was free, and you realize that we were the product, they were studying us and all that good stuff, and you've heard about Facebook doing their psychological experiment that everybody's all in an uproar about now with the news feed. But social media as a industry, and Facebook is leading the charge, is going towards pay to play. They need to make money. They're using this as a business model. The news feed is their creme de la creme. So for them to throttle how many people we can see from 1% to 16% to as high as 30%, they need to keep you on the page, and that's where the ads come in. The best way that a new church can utilize this is start off with, to be specific, $5 promoted posts. Just use $5, because initially, if you post something and you have a fan page of 1,000 fans, you'll see maybe 10 people will see it, 12 people will see it, maybe if you're lucky, 50 people will see it. But if you start off with $5, then you can get up to, and they'll let you know how many in their promoted posts, but they'll probably say somewhere like 700, 800 people will see it. When you look at that, you start to look at how much engagement did you get. Likes, retweets, not retweets, but reposts, shares, all that type of stuff, and look at that type of engagement, and then you gauge how much you go further. But the thing about that the church can do is you have to allocate some type of money and invest in this online digital ministry the same way you invest in your offline ministries. And that's the perspective we have to have now. If the men's ministry at your church, the offline men's ministry, said, hey, we need a certain amount of money to have after service, go have a meal or something, you would give them the money for that, because you see that's a tangible ministry. That's what's going on with the online digital ministry aspect. Investing in these ad features and pay-to-play features are just the investment in ministry. So you don't have to go all in and think it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start off with $5, $20 or so on, and see the results in the engagement, and then you figure out where you go from there. How effective was that post? But start small and then work your way up.
Very good. And when it comes to that investment, what is your mix that you would coach maybe a smaller mid-sized church when it comes to print and traditional advertising and now digital advertising? And what are some of maybe the trends you've seen them doing, and whether that's being effective or ineffective, and they may need to shift more to digital, or they need to strengthen the mix? What are some tips there?
Well, when I look at smaller churches, I tell them to focus on digital more because it's more cost effective for them. The things that I always hear is the budget. We just, if we had the resources, we would do more, which is understandable, and that's great. So if we look at what your budget constraints are, then we look at digital advertising options using Facebook or Google Ads and stuff like that. Then we can start to look at, if you only have a budget of $100, then we can allocate $100 towards Facebook ads, and we can measure how effective those ads were, as opposed to saying, let's take the $100 and put it towards print ads to get people in your local geographical area, but you can't measure how effective that print ad was. So depending on your budget, if you have a smaller budget and you need to measure it more effectively, then we look at ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, stuff like that. If you have a larger budget, like we do at the Potter's House, then you start looking at, in addition to digital ads, then you add the other digital delivery methods, print ads, radio ads, and stuff like that we utilize. But again, it depends on the size of your budget.
Very good. Now, I want to shift to this recent endeavor that you guys just launched, and that's that you just launched an online church or an online campus. Is that correct?
Yes, we did our first test run yesterday, and we are officially launching this Sunday for the church anniversary, and we've created this full internet church online experience. So we've basically taken everything we do offline as much as possible and made it online and developed a fully immersive online experience.
Wow, and what are some of the unique maybe goals that you had when it came to that that maybe differs from other online campuses, online churches that they've seen? What were the distinctives that you really wanted to include?
Well, the one main distinct thing is when you look at online church, initially we start off with just the focus on the video viewer and people watching, and then they're interacting in some type of manner, whether it be Twitter chat, Facebook chat, or something like that. What we wanted to do was add quite a few new features that we saw that a lot of online campuses had, which was like, the maps and the interactive Bible and stuff like that. Now, you see that in quite a few online churches, and we were great with that. What we want to do is take it a step further. We started to build and look at, when you come to your offline church service, you have your Wednesday, your midweek services, you might have your weekend services, but during the week there was still ministry going on. So we created a full, in addition to our online streaming page where you have a lot of interactive ministry going on, we created another site that encompasses that, where you have different types of online ministries going on, whether you have Bible studies going on, whether you have different types of men's group that can come together. It's just a fully immersive experience that, in addition to watching the live stream and watching our TV shows and stuff like that and interacting around that, we wanted you to have another part where you actually did the other aspects of ministry that you see inside the church and get educated, trained, inspired in those aspects. So we just made a fully immersive experience, and not just come here, watch a service, and then go on about your life. We want it to be fully engaged and just make it more inspirational and more impactful.
Very cool. So if some church leaders would want to not only look in and see that entire experience, but then get ideas, where can they find all that, and when is the best time to stop by and check it out?
Oh, they can check it out now. They would go to tphechurch.org, and when you get there, you'll see that's like basically coming to our online church building, so to speak. And from there, if you want to go watch live services and interact in that manner, you click on that button and go there. If you want to go, find out about the pastor, or find out about more about the church, or or start looking at different lessons and stuff like that, then you can go that way as well. It's just a variety of different ways you can go, instead of just saying, just come, watch this live, and then that's it. That's not how church is, in the offline aspect. Even though we go to services, there is other things we can get involved with, and we want to duplicate that online.
Yeah, very cool. Love it. And lastly, you have a new thing called Inspired Mobility with AT&T. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Inspired Mobility is a program that I've been able to work with AT&T, and we're starting to tell the story of how people use mobile technologies to enhance their personal lives and their spiritual lives. And the thing I like about this platform that AT&T has provided is they're helping us tell the story of how we interact in the faith space. So it can range from how you talk about your church experience utilizing your mobile devices or any type of technology, and just being able to use that story using the hashtag Inspire Mobility. But we know that in some churches, technology is embraced. Me and we're out here doing it. We're seeing when we're part of churches where technology is embraced, but we know that the churches that we're in are ahead of the curve. And so there are a lot of churches that technology is taboo. They don't understand it. They don't have the resources, financial or anything like that, or educational expertise to do that. And we just want to start that conversation to how we can help them, get further along, because technology is part of everything that has to do with our culture and society.
That's awesome. And so is there something to a place church leaders can check that out?
Well, right now we started the conversation online just using the hashtag Inspired Mobility, and from there this conversation will be continued following AT&T on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and so on and so forth. And then the next thing that we'll roll out is AT&T.com/About Us, the newsroom. We'll start to post articles about how to get further involved in this campaign. And right now we just started in the online space because we want people to talk on the go from their mobile devices like we do, and just be able to start participate in that conversation on Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome. And then lastly, you have a couple resources out, and you're doing a lot of great content and posting content for church leaders and those in the nonprofit ministry space. Where are the best places to pick up your books? Who are they for? And kind of just a quick idea of what kind of why we should pick them up, and what they would help us with depending on what we're dealing with now, and where you're posting content online, how to get connected with you, follow you, things like that.
Oh man, thanks. That's a great question, Sean. Okay. All my resources. Right now, I currently have 3 books out. The iChurch Method is my flagship series at iChurchMethod.com, and I have Volume 1 and Volume 2. In those books, I talk about 5 key ways to advance your ministry online: websites, multimedia, e-commerce, social media, and mobile. And so, and those Volume 1 and Volume 2 are the ones I currently have. And at the end of this year, we'll start 2015, I'll be releasing Volume 3. Where we'll even take it even further and talk about more some of the internet church campus things we talked about. And just as technology is continuing to evolve, we'll talk about how churches can take advantage of that. Well, the next book I wrote was How to Get 1 Million Fans, because people started asking me to teach about just ministry and social media. And so I wrote a book geared towards just that. And at the end of this year, and those are all at iChurchMethod.com as well, and on Amazon. At the end of this year, I will write Volume 2 of that book, which will be called Social Connections. And we'll talk about how social media is evolving and some of the things we talked about today, pay to play, and just how ministries can utilize that as well. And then for me, I'm continually posting all the time on iChurchMethod.com, and you can stay in touch with me via Twitter at Jason Caston.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. And I will post all of the links to your content, what you're doing, everything we discussed, as well as additional resources and information in the YouTube description and on the blog post. And definitely reach out to Jason. He's very helpful. And so send him a tweet if you see this post. And he is doing awesome stuff, making a difference in the church world and crushing it with social media, digital marketing, and everything else online like that. Well, Jason, thanks so much for being a part of Think International. Really appreciate the time.
Hey, I appreciate you, my friend.